All right, so welcome to the course. Our course is about developing dashboards. Okay, it's about developing dashboards in Microsoft Power BI. And this is one of the most exciting courses that I have ever done. And I'm very sure that you're actually going to love it as well. Right. So I think we can start with some introductions. What do you think? Let's start with some introductions. So my name is Alexander Ntembenuzeni, and I am a data analyst, and I am the founder of Data for Development, which is a platform where we are teaching data analytics for social development projects. So for projects in humanitarian work or social development, that's basically what we are doing. Some of you probably already are taking a few courses there. Thank you so much, guys, for joining in. I am really proud that you are here, and let's be together up to the end of the session. It's going to be a really exciting session, I can promise you. This is one of my most valuable courses to date. I can say that because of several reasons. While you are introducing yourself, let me actually say why this is one of the best courses that I have done. Okay, I've done several courses. If you've gone to our course platform, which is Data for Development, there are courses there for, we have, for example, KoBoToolbox, and we have another course that is about the fundamentals of data analytics for social development projects, where we do KoBoToolbox as well, but a bit of Excel, a bit of SPSS. Those are really awesome courses. But when it comes to this course, it's really very close to my heart for several reasons. One of the reasons is that as a consultant, so probably you guys are employed, I'm a consultant, and I actually have several projects right now with organizations, and those projects have to do with developing dashboards and visualizations. So I will tell you that I have a project for an organization that we call GENET, or Girls Empowerment Network, and I'm being paid somewhere about $1,500 for work that involves what I'm about to teach today for free. I also have another project with Women's Legal Resources organization in Malawi. Again, it actually has to do with the same stuff. I'm being paid about $1,200, if not $1,300 for that. So the stuff that I'm about to teach you right now, this is something very new, something that people are just realizing, oh, we can do this. We can develop a monitoring and evaluation, a digitized monitoring and evaluation system by using freely available resources. That is, you can use, for example, today we're going to be talking about Google Forms and Microsoft Power BI. So this is a big deal. And I would like you guys to be with me up to the end of the course. It's a big deal because it's something that a lot of organizations are inquiring from me to do for them, and we're going to cover that for free today. Right. So I think we should get started. Thank you, everyone. We have Zambia, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Liberia, Kenya, Lesotho. We have people from all over the world. Thank you so much for joining in. So I would like to get started. Those who are joining in, you can continue introducing yourself. But right now, I think I should get started. So I'm just gonna be my screen right now, so that I can show you now. We can get started with the PowerPoint right here. All right, so once again, welcome to our course. The course is developing project monitoring dashboards using Power BI. Now, let's get started by just introducing what is visualization. What are visualizations really? So visualizations are graphical representation of information. right? Graphical representation of information. And so basically, when you present information using charts, using tables, using graphs, maps, so maps are also a part of visualization, infographics, dashboards, right? So basically, dashboards are just an amalgamation of all of the things that we have that are above there. So that's charts, tables, graphs. Put them together, you have a dashboard. So not only that, you can even just have numbers and so on. They can be presented creatively and dynamically using a dashboard. Right. So why visualizations? Why is visualization becoming a big deal nowadays? The first reason is that visualizations are easy to understand. Okay, people of varying experiences or understanding of data can understand visualizations much easily. If I tell you things like there were 55% of people were male, while 45% were male, and if you compare that with actually me showing you a pie chart of 45%, 55%, it makes it much easier for people to understand. Numbers are kind of difficult to understand for most people, while for charts, which are visual representation of information, they're much, much easier for people to understand. So it's easier for people to absorb large amounts of data using visualizations. Right, so it is easy to absorb large amounts of data. If you have lots of data lying in big tables, it's really not easy for you to understand what's going on. But when you have that information just distilled into simple charts like bar charts and so on, it makes it much easier to understand. It's also easy to spot trends and patterns, unlike if I just give you a bunch of numbers. And it also encourages interaction with the data. So with tools like Microsoft Power BI, you are able to add some interactivity to your data. For example, you can put filters, okay? So slicers, whereby you can say, okay, I want to see data from within this range of dates. That is, adding interaction to your data. That's the great thing. One other great thing about using data visualizations. And lastly, it speeds up decision-making processes because everyone now can understand what you're trying to convey instead of conveying it with numbers, and maybe some people may not understand what you're trying to convey. But now, because you're conveying it using charts, pictures, and everything that's visual, then it becomes much easier for people to understand what you're trying to convey. So that's why visualizations are becoming a big deal these days, especially as linked to evidence-based decision-making, because people who don't have a background in statistics and so on could still be able to understand. It will still be able to understand. Right, let's move on. Right, so what are different applications of data visualization in social projects? So this is not the whole list, and I'm actually going to ask you in the end to add on to how do you think we can use data visualizations in our projects? So first, you can use data visualizations to track project progress, right? And this is one example of what we're actually going to be building today. We're going to be building a dashboard that we can use to track the progress of a project. So basically like a monitoring and evaluation tracker, but now it's going to be, it's actually going to be digital, and it's actually going to be interactive. You can also use it for project monitoring reporting. So if you want to send reports to other people, to different stakeholders, you can use visualizations in your report. I've already mentioned the advantage of using, advantages of using dashboards or visualizations, being that everyone is able to follow along, okay? Even people who don't understand data analysis or who don't understand statistics, with charts is much easier because you're just playing with size of things or direction of things. Most people are conversant as well. Right, then you can also use it for stakeholder engagement. You can engage stakeholders easily by using visualizations. You can use it for mapping. Maybe you want to show where your project is and where your beneficiaries are, then a visualization will be a best way to present that information. You can also use it for research dissemination. So if you do research in your organization, or let's say it's an evaluation research, then the best way to communicate to everyone, especially to people who might not understand big numbers, then it's going to be a good idea to use visualizations because they're easily understood. But you can also do predictive analysis. Maybe you want to predict certain things. You can actually show that on visualizations as well. So the question to you is, how have you used visualizations in your organization? Can we share in the chat, please? We're just typing in the chat. Can you share, how have you been using visualizations or charts in your organization? Let's learn together, and I'm going to be reading that so that everyone can understand and get some ideas. So I'm looking at the chart. Please let me know. Okay, let me know, how have you been using data visualization? You probably have been doing visualizations using Microsoft Excel and so on. Okay, Viviana, you're saying at the moment of presenting new initiatives to the donor. Yeah, exactly. So if you're showing initiatives to the donor, you've been using visualization. Tracking program results, that's Catherine, right? That's great. Project reporting. So a lot of people use visualization in their project reporting. Thanks, Ronald. Haroon, you're saying you just use Excel and SPSS. Yeah, most people use Microsoft Excel. Excel is also a really great visualization software. That's very much fine. SPSS as well does some charts, but it's not as interactive as in Power BI. Real-time field monitoring. Yes, now this is exactly what we're going to learn here. Prince K, thank you so much for that. So you can do real-time field monitoring using Microsoft Power BI when you connect it to software like, let's say, Google Forms or to KoBoToolbox, which I'm actually going to show you. We are going to have a full course, all right, a longer full course where I'm going to show everything in Power BI, including how you connect it with KoBoToolbox and build a really great dashboard for real-time field monitoring. I have used it, pie charts and bar charts in Excel. Yes, a lot of people have developed charts in Excel. Those are visualization. Tracking project results, Nathan and Abubakar, thank you so much. Project report writing, yes. You have a project and you're writing your report. You include charts and so on in there. Great. Drawing comparisons, Graciano. Yes, if you want to draw comparisons, the great way to use it is probably maybe you have a bar chart or a column chart where you're showing differences. I've always used visualizations using Excel to reduce on the weights in the PDM report. Yes, actually, that's another great way of using visualizations. It's that you can actually use visualizations to reduce the amount of words you have. I mean, you want to make your reports more visually appealing and much easier for people to understand. So it's a great idea to use visualizations to fix in visualizations in your reports. To assess performance of health facilities in terms of the reporting. Thank you for reporting. To represent one-pagers on progress report. Yeah, so maybe you want to have a report, a simple, small report, one page. You can develop it using visualization. So there are lots of really awesome and great ideas in here. In PowerPoint presentations, when you're presenting, Catherine, in PowerPoint presentations, visuals help to not to clutter the slides. ODSs always find visuals more appealing than so much text. Awesome, Catherine. Thank you so much for that great idea. That's really great. Yes, you need to ensure that in your presentations, you are including data visualizations. They are much easier to understand for everyone than just throwing in lots of text. Thank you so much to everyone who is, pitching in ideas. Someone say, as if you're saying you use Google Data Studio. That's awesome. You have the Google Sheet on the background, and then you're using Google Data Studio. Google Data Studio is also an awesome visualization software. And so on. Okay, let's go ahead and continue. All right. So what are the different elements of data visualization? So when we're doing data visualization, we play around with things like position, things like length, orientation, area, shape, volumes, colors, textures, numbers, and text. So we play around with these elements, visual elements, to show basically, you know, maybe a value. For example, you might use the length of a line. You might use the length of the line to indicate that this is, you know, you have more here than the other one. You might use area to show that you have more than the other one. You might use colors to show that probably there is more there, or probably there's less, and so on. And we're going to see how we can use that in Microsoft Power BI. Right. So the examples of different data visualizations that you can utilize, you have area charts, you have bar charts, you have box and whisker plots, you have bubble cloud, you have bullet graphs, you have cartograms. Now, I'm going to ask you to, you know, just go on Google and just, if you don't understand some of this, just go on Google and just find out, for example, what's a dot distribution map, or what's a heat map, what's a highlight table, what's a histogram. Most of us are very familiar with things like area charts or bar charts, and so on. We have others like scatter plots. We probably know about scatter plots, or timelines, or tree maps, or weight clouds, and so on. So those are the different kinds of visualizations that you can use in whatever projects that you are doing. Right, let's move ahead. Now, we want to now get started, right? We want to get started. How do we now utilize Power BI to develop a digital M&D solution, you know, whereby we have something that we're using to collect our data, and then we have now Power BI being used as the front end, where we're developing the charts and you know, being able to refresh when we have new information coming in. So the first thing that we're going to look at now is, how do you download Power BI? How do you install Power BI? And we're going to look at the Power BI interface. Now, in terms of downloading and installing Power BI, I did send emails. I hope you guys you saw those emails. I did send emails with a link on how you can download Microsoft Power BI and install it. But if you probably, if you did not get that one, I'm just going to say download Power BI right here, like that. Okay, and then you know, when you type in Google, just say download Power BI, you see that the first one here, powerbi.microsoft.com, and you have it like that. And most cases, what I do, because where we are, the internet can be, you know, difficult sometimes. So what I do is here, where it says Microsoft Power BI desktop, instead of going to download, because this one now it's going to download a small file, and then later it's just going to try to download the full application. But what I do is normally I just go to advanced download options. So when you get to this, you are now just going to select the language. If you want to have it in your own language, and your language is here, let's say maybe you want it in French and so on, just go ahead and select from here, and just go ahead and click download. Now, if you click download, you're going to come here and select your version, whether you want the 64 bits or the normal 32 bits. Is it Sering Yankee? There's no, unfortunately, we don't have Power BI desktop for Mac. That's the unfortunate thing. It's only available for Windows. If you have Mac, then probably maybe you want to install, there's an application that you can install in Mac. I just forgotten the name of that application. It basically runs Windows on Mac, and then you can install Power BI there. Don't choose both. Just if you're running, you know, a computer that was made, let's say 5 years ago, then just click the first one here, which is the 64 bits one. That's the one I use. And just click that one and go ahead and click next. And then it's going to download the file for you. Okay, I'm actually just gonna, okay, so you can actually download it and save it. But I already have it saved. I already have it. Yeah, so you can use, in MacBook, you can use Parallels desktop. Annie, thank you so much for that. PowerBI Desktop, yes, you can use that. So install PowerBI Desktop and then install the Windows application. It works perfectly fine. Thank you so much for those of you who are pitching in your ideas there. Thank you so very much. Right, so let's go ahead and continue. Now, once you do that, okay, after now you have installed, installing is actually very straightforward. It's just, you know, you open it up and just go next. And then you're gonna have this. So when you open it up, actually when you open it for the first time, okay, let me just close this because I had this open already. So I'm gonna close that and I'm just gonna go Power BI. So I'm just trying to open it up. All right, so when you're opening it, it actually sometimes takes a while to open. So you just have to be a bit patient to wait. You just have to be a little bit patient. So as you can see here, we have it open, and these are my files. If you're opening it for the first time, you probably don't have any file open. That's perfectly fine. And what you want to do is to, the first thing that we do in most cases is we go to get data. But for now, I'm just gonna close this, right? And okay, I just close that. And now we have the window, the Microsoft Power BI window. Right, so I'm just gonna go through the interface, right? It's actually a very straightforward and easy interface to work with. The first thing that you have on the left-hand side here, you have these three buttons on the top left-hand side right here. And the first one here, it says report, and that's the report view, which is, you know, here, that what we have open right now. That's the report view. But of course, we cannot create any report right now because we don't have any data yet. So this is the main screen where now, once we have connected to our data, we'll be able to develop all our visualizations. As you can see on the right-hand side here, we have the different types of visualizations. Now, I was saying that the first icon that we have, the first button here on the left, is the report view. And then the second one is the data view. So when you click the data view here, you're going to be seeing the different tables that now we are going to be getting from, this time we're going to be getting it from Google Sheets. So when you have connected to data, that data is going to be here in the form of tables. And you can see that here using the data view. And then lastly, you have the model view. This is where now you're able to model or connect tables, especially when you're dealing with a relational database. So let me just give you a little example. So let's say that you have multiple tables that are related. Let's say, for example, you have a dashboard or a database of students, and these students take different courses. So you want to show the linkage between a table that has the names of students and the table that has the courses that these students can take or are taking. Then that is a relationship between multiple tables. And you're able to do that using the model view. You're able to connect the tables. Now, I'm not going to show that in this lesson. I'm actually going to show that in the full course that I'm going to show you at the end of this course. But I'm going to show you how we can develop, how you can be able to develop a dashboard using a single table that we're going to be having, we're going to be developing using Google Forms. So you have the report view, you have the data view, and then you have the model view. I'm just going to go back to the report view. Now, you might notice that when I'm switching through these different screens, so I'm on report view, I want you to take a look at here on the menu here. You notice that the moment I switch to the data view, it actually changes. You know, certain things here change. If I go to the model view, you see that the buttons are changing depending on the view that I am at the moment. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the report view. The first thing we need is to have data. That's the first thing. Now, we don't have data yet. So the next thing that we're going to do now is we are actually now going to develop a form. And then I'm going to show you how we can link that form, the data that we have entered in that form, how we can actually throw it now into Power BI. Okay, so let me just open this app. Now, it's a very small tool. Actually, you're going to wonder, is this really a tool? But let me show you what's happening here. Let me give you a little bit of a background of the project that we'll be doing here. So the project is basically a mobile sexual reproductive health services clinic, right? So I hope you already know sexual reproductive health services, which are, for example, condoms or voluntary male circumcision, maybe HIV testing. So an organization has a project whereby they will be going to different places in the country. So you have different districts here. We have the KoKo district and Lola district. Okay, so this is literally I just made the names up. Don't worry about that. Now, what's happening is that we are setting up clinics. Okay, we're setting up clinics whereby people will be coming and collecting condoms and having VMMC or voluntary male medical male circumcision, and of course HTC or HIV testing and counseling. So we have these indicators, right? We have number of males who have accessed condoms, number of females who have accessed condoms, number of condoms distributed, and then we have number of males who have undergone VMMC, number of males who have done the HTC, and number of females who have done HTC. So these are the indicators that we have. So what will be happening is when we go to the clinic, right, we're going to have this tool, and then we're going to enter the date that is the activity is happening, and then we're going to enter the district, and then we'll enter how many males accessed condoms, how many females accessed condoms, how many condoms have distributed on that day. And then we have now number of males who have undergone VMMC, number of males who have done HTC, and number of females who have done HTC within that day. So that now information, we're going to aggregate it and show it on our dashboard. So it's a very simple and straightforward project. You're having a mobile SRH or sexual reproductive health clinic. And then you're collecting this information, which we're going to be using to track the progress of our project. How many people have we served? Let's go ahead and continue. So what I would do is I'm going to go to Google Forms. All right, I'm going to go to Google Forms. This is where now I'm going to develop the form. I'm just using Google Forms for simplicity purposes. Right, so here, this is Google Forms. Here the button says go to Google Forms, and that's where I'm going right now. Go to Google Forms. So this is my account. I have lots of my forms here. I'm just going to go ahead and go to create a blank form. So start a new form. It's a blank form. So I'm going to call this form, okay, let's actually just write it from here at the top. I'm going to call this form project tracking form, right? Like that, project tracking form. And I'm going to start now adding the questions. So I'm actually going to put this side by side so it's easy for me to add. So the first question is date of activity. Now developing forms in Google Forms is so easy. So you just have to go like date of activity. Date of activity right there. Actually Google is really smart. It already knows, okay, this is a date. So I've done that. I have added that. Let's add another question. Just click the plus down here. The next one is district. Okay, and the options that we have. So option here on the right hand side, I have to first of all select the type of question, and it's going to be a multiple choice like that. And the first one is KoKo district, and the second one is Lola district, like that. That's perfectly fine. I hope you guys are following that. Then I'll go ahead and click the plus again to add the next question. And the next question, so this is basically a different section. So I'm actually going to close that. And then I'll add a section using this button here, where that says add section. So I'll add a section. So you can see we have date of activity, district. And I'm going to go to now a different section, and I'm calling this section condoms, right? Then we add a question within that section, okay? We'll add a section within rather a question in the section. And the question here says number of females who have accessed condoms. I'm just gonna copy this and paste it over. I think that's gonna be much easier for me. So number of males, that would be the type of question is actually going to be, it has to be a number. So I'll make it short answer here. Okay, it says short answer text. Let's see if we can do something much better with this. Okay, so we have short answer, multiple right. Anyway, let's just make it short answer. Of course, we can click the drop down here and select response validation. And then when you select response validation, you can say, okay, that's going to be a number. So it says number greater than, it doesn't matter. Okay, we can actually just say, okay, it's a number greater than 0, right? That's fine. So we have forced it to be a number. So I'll go ahead and click the plus again to add another question. The next question is number of females who have accessed condoms. I'll copy that and paste that. And there we go. And once again, it's going to be a short answer. I'm also going to validate it by clicking here and then go to response validation. It's going to be, we're making sure that it's always a number greater than 0. So the number has to be greater than 0 at least, or I mean, we could put it at greater than -1. I mean, you try, just put something that you think makes sense with your case that you're dealing with. Then the third one is number of condoms distributed. We're trying to ensure that it's all numbers. I'm just gonna click the plus again, and we have that question, number of condoms distributed. It's also going to be short answer. And once again, response validation, make sure it's a number greater than 0. Okay, let's click the, now we are done with condoms. We now want to go to VMMC, which is a section. So once again, I'm just gonna click here, add section. All right, so we have another section here, that's section 3. And I'm just gonna call this VMMC like that. And once again, we're going to click the plus to add a question. We only have one question in this section. That's number of males who have undergone HTC, and I'm going to paste that in and delete that. So number of males who have undergone HTC. I'm also going to make it short answer there. And again, we'll go to response validation and number greater than 0. I hope you are following, guys. And then we're going to go to the next section. So again, we'll click this button here that says add a section. And then the last section there, the name is HTC. And again, we just click the little plus here to add a question. And then I'm just gonna select this question right here and paste it there, number of males who have done HTC. And this is going to be a short answer. Because it's going to be a number, we need to click this button and go to response validation and make sure it's a number greater than 0 again. And then again, I'm just gonna go to plus and add the final question, which is number of females who have done HTC. And then again, just go short answer, click the 3-dotted button, go to response validation and number greater than 0. So that is all. Let me actually go ahead and maximize this. So that's all. If you are full screen, then the buttons will appear on the right-hand side. And this is basically it. This is our form right here. This is perfectly fine. We can use this, right? We can use this. If you want to preview it, you can actually just click the preview button here at the top. Just click that. And you see here, we have multiple sections. So date of activity, we select the date here, the district, we go next. And we have condoms. We're entering number of males who have accessed condoms, number of females, and number of condoms distributed. We can go next. And then number of males who have undergone VMMC, and next you have that, and then we can submit it. Okay, that was just a preview. So I'm gonna go ahead and close that. I'm gonna leave the preview right now. So that's perfectly fine. Now, let me answer some questions that we have here. Is it possible to link with KoBoToolbox? Yes, it is very possible. You can link Power BI with KoBoToolbox. I'm not going to show that here, but we're going to have a full course. Okay, we already have that full course. We're going to start. It's going to be a 6-day course. It's a really awesome course. I'm going to show you the course outline. And it's going to run starting next weekend. So it's going to be Saturday, Sunday for 3 weekends. And I'm going to touch on every single thing you need to know on on Power BI. But we are also going to have several projects in there. And one of them is we are going to see how you can actually connect KoBoToolbox to Power BI and then model the data. So if you have repeating groups, you have multiple tables, we're going to model the data. We're actually going to do some really cool stuff that is going to build on top of what we are doing right now. It's a very great course, which I'm actually going to show you as we're getting close to the end of the course of this session. So make sure you are there so that I can show you all the details to that course. But yes, it is possible and it's really awesome. And that's what I'm actually doing for several organizations. I mentioned at the beginning, there are several organizations I'm actually developing some form like digitized M&D solution where we have KoBoToolbox and we're connecting it with Power BI and they're using that, sharing reports and so on. It's really great. I have 2 projects actually right now. I'm a consultant and I'm actually consulting for 2 organizations right now simultaneously. And it's really a great set of skills that you guys need to have. And I'm very sure that in the end, once I finish this, you're actually going to see how valuable this is for your organization. Okay, right. And now I'm actually going to enter some data in here. Now, to make this real fun, I'm actually going to click send. Okay, so we have this link. We want to enter some data. So what I want to ask you guys, I'm going to give you a job, please. I'm going to give you a little job right here. This form, I want you to just go ahead and enter a bunch of information in that form. Please, if you could help me do that, that would be really awesome. Just click the link very quickly and just enter a bunch of information. You know, it's not real information. It's really just fake information. So can you just enter some fake information real quick on that form? I've sent it on the chat. I'm also going to do the same thing. So let's say today we were at Coco there. We'll just go next. And number of males who have accessed condoms, 20 males, 10 females, and here we have done 60. Actually, we have done 600 condoms, and we're gonna go next. And number of males who have undergone VMMC, there were 12 males. Next, and then number of males who have gone HTC, we have 10. Number of females, we have 25. So I'm just gonna do this. Please, would you help me enter a bunch of forms in there? Oh, thank you so much. It's really filling in real fast. Let's try to change the dates as well. Let's play around with the dates. It should not just be today. Let's play around with the dates, just fill in some information there. This is really awesome. I didn't think that will go that fast, but yeah, thank you so much. Let's play around with the dates. June, okay, different dates on June and so on. I'm seeing this in real time. This is very awesome. So we'll be seeing the data that you're entering now we're gonna be connecting it. Okay, so I'm just gonna, thanks so much. I think we have quite a lot of forms so far. This is great. So thanks so much and great work right there. Okay, now we have developed our form. Now we are entering data. Thank you so much. Now let us jump on to now, how do we now connect in PowerBI. Thank you everyone for feeding the information. We actually have 100 something. This is awesome. And we can actually see how cool it is already. We are seeing Google Forms already doing some cool stuff. Now, let's now see how we can connect the information. But what I would do is I will now go to Power BI. So in Power BI, you can connect to many different data sources. So for example, we could export this data set to Microsoft Excel and connect that, but that's not really fun enough. But you can do that, and I'm going to show you in the full course that I have just mentioned. So that full course will show all the different ways you can connect Power BI to data sources. For example, Microsoft Access, SQL Server, if you have that, KoBoToolbox, Owner, Comcare. I'm going to show you how to connect using all of those platforms in that full course that we're going to be having in our course platform. But for today, I'm just going to show you how to connect to Google Sheets, and I'm going to show you how we get Google Sheets from from Google Forms. So to connect, the first thing you do to connect now to data source, you can either just click here. You have shortcuts here. For example, you can connect to an Excel file, you can connect to a Power BI data set or to an SQL server, or you can enter data or using what something new that they're calling a Dataverse. Or you can click the drop down here and you have all these different connection points. Or you can go to more right here. So if you go to more, you actually have a dialog box where you're going to have a list of all the ways you can connect. So you can see here, you can connect to text or CSV or XML or JSON, or you can even connect to a folder that has multiple Excel files, right? Or Access databases. You have Oracle databases, SQL Server, MySQL databases, and so on. So you have lots of them, lots of different connections. But for us to do, I'm going to be talking about all of these different connections when we get to the full course that I'm about to show you. But now, which we're actually, the course we're going to be starting it next weekend. But let me show you now how we import from Google Sheets. So the first step you need to do, I hope you guys are taking notes. The first thing that you're going to do here is to generate a Google Sheets file. So if you are in your Google Forms, whether let's say you are in the questions screen here, you're going to have to switch to the responses screen like this. Okay, then you're going to have to click here this icon which says create spreadsheet. You can see here it's a green icon that says create spreadsheet. That's the first thing you need to do. So I'm going to click that, and it says, okay, you're going to create a new spreadsheet. That's fine. I'll go ahead and say create. Okay. So once the worksheet has been created, you can actually now see it here. You can see this has been now created. This is cool. Now, the next thing that you're going to do is to share this worksheet. That's the second thing. Okay. The first thing we have created the Google Sheet. The next thing is we need to share it. So I'll click on share here at the top. Then I'm actually just going to say, we want to share it with everyone. So here where it says get link, it says restricted, only people added can open with this link. Change to anyone with a link. And I'm going to select that, change to anyone with a link. And what that does is that anyone who has the link to this worksheet can actually be able to see the data. That's all right. And I'm just going to click done. That's fine. Just click done, and that's it. That's the second thing. The third thing you're going to do is go to file, right? Go to file, and then go to publish to the web. That's the next thing you need to do. Publish to the web, right? Great. Then on the options here, make sure that it says entire document. That's fine. Then here, make sure it says web page. That's the first one here. Make sure it says web page. And then click publish. Okay, so it says, are you sure you want to publish this selection? Yes, you just click OK. and your worksheet has been published, which means this link, we can now use this link to be able to use this data set anywhere, including in Power BI. Now you want to copy that link. Okay, so I've copied the link, and now we go to Power BI like that. Great. Now, this next thing that we do now in Power BI is we go to get data. There's get data here. So you can click at the top or you can click down here. I'm just going to click down here where there's get data and the arrow. Okay, so now when you click get data there, then what I'm going to do is you select web. Okay, you can see here when you click the drop down, get data, you select web, right? Or if you click the on the button here, make sure that on the dialog box that appears, make sure you pick web. Okay, you can search here at the top, just type web like that, and you find there's web here. So either way, that's going to work. I'm closing this. So this is a shoulder. Just click the drop down and select web. Right, and then you're going to have this dialog box here. So you want to paste that link right there. Just paste the link and click OK. And just give it a moment so that it connects to Google Sheets. Okay, so it just says, please wait, and then please wait while we establish a connection to Google Docs. All right, and the magic happens in a few moments from now. Look at that. We have multiple tables. It actually say, okay, HTML tables, and it has suggested tables. So let's look at that. Okay, this one, okay, that's fine. Let's look at this one. Then there's this one. Okay, it's basically just telling us, you know, you can have these different tables from the table that you selected. I'm actually going to select the main table here that says table 1. You can see there at the top, HTML tables, table 1. And I'm actually going to just click the check mark right there on the table, the check mark here. And then I'm not going to load the data directly, okay? Instead of load, don't click load, right? The reason why I'm not clicking load is this. If you look at the table clearly, okay, you'll notice that several things don't look the way they're supposed to. For example, here you have, instead of the actual column names like timestamp, date of activity, you have just column 1, column 2, column 3. So the first row is blank and the third row is blank. Obviously, those are problems. So we don't want to just go directly to loading the data. The first thing you need to do is to transform the data. Now, some other times when you connect to an Excel worksheet or to KoBoToolbox, everything just comes right away. You don't have to do anything to the data. Maybe just have to edit a few things. But I can see in Google, from Google here that, you know, certain things are not the way they're supposed to. So I'm just going to go ahead and select transform data. Now, when you click transform data, you have what is known as the Power Query Editor. Now, there's a lot that you can do in the Power Query Editor. And I am going to teach that. I'm going to teach the Power Query Editor in depth in the course that I'm going to be showing you, the course that is starting next weekend. So this Power Query Editor is really powerful. You know, you can use it to transform the information, remove certain things, change certain things. It's really awesome. And I'm going to show you all the functionalities that you have in there in the course that we are going to start next weekend. But for now, we just want to do a few data transformation, okay? Okay, I want to show you a few data transformations that you can do. So first of all, we need to delete the first row. Yes, this first row is blank, so we need to delete it. So what do you do to do that? Okay, I'm gonna go and just click here where this says under home tab, this says remove rows. I'm just gonna click the drop down and I'm gonna say remove top rows like that. Okay, so how many rows do you want to remove? I just want to remove one row here. So I'm just gonna type 1 there. So I'm removing 1 row here at the top. I'm just gonna click okay, that's all right. Then the next thing I want to do is I want to raise the first row so it becomes the names of the columns. And the way you do that is here. It says use first row as headers, right? Use first row as headers. You can just go ahead and click that. And you can see that the header has been, the first row has been promoted. Now, instead of column 1, column 2, the first row became the names of the columns themselves. So you have here, you have, it just says 1. We can actually edit this by double clicking. So for example, here, I can call this ID like that. Just double click it. You can rename any of this. Okay. Now we need to remove this one as well. Okay. So you know how to do that. You can just go to remove rows and again, just select remove top rows. And we want to remove one row, which is just the first row here, and click OK. And as you can see, our data is perfect. That's awesome, right? It's perfect. Now the data is perfect, it's clean. We don't have any problems. The next thing you want to check, of course, is to see if you have data of, if the columns are of the right type. So the timestamp it says ABC, which means this is actually text, but it's not text. It's supposed to be okay, it's supposed to be a date, right? It's supposed to be date. Actually, there's a lot of things that we need to change. This date of activity here, again, it's not a date, it's actually text. Okay, we need to change that. And then the district is text, that's fine. The number of males, number of females, all the indicators are actually numbers, which is awesome. Okay, all the indicators are numbers. Okay, as we're okay, I'm just looking at the numbers, and it actually looks like some of the numbers are really on the high, but we are not going to deal with data cleaning, especially looking at outliers yet. We're actually going to do that in the paid course, which I'm going to be showing you at the end. Let's focus on this, right? Let's focus on this. For now, because I want to show you a few other things that you can do in the KoBoToolbox, in Power BI. So we're going to now just go ahead and click here, the drop down here on the first button under Home tab, close and apply. I'm just going to go close and apply, and then I'm just going to wait. It's evaluating everything, connecting, and doing all the transformations we just did. I'm just going to sit there and wait until it does its thing. We have 117 rows have been loaded so far. Let's wait. Okay, awesome. So now we have this table here, which has all our information. I mean, this is totally awesome. As you can see, we have all of this information here. Right. So the next thing now we need to do is to now, let me show you now, how do you start to develop? Now, how do you develop the visuals now in Power BI? Okay, so how do you get started developing visuals? Before I go there, let me remember I showed you these 3 screens here. You have the report screen. The next screen is the data screen, and you can see here we actually have the data loaded. And then you'll notice that now on the right-hand side where it says fields, you have this table here. Well, there's only one table, but you can actually have multiple tables. It's very possible. And on the relationship, we only have this single table here. If we had multiple tables, we could actually establish relationships using this. So we now have that. Now in the table here, we can change things. For example, date of activity. If I select the column for date of activity, I can change it so that it becomes a date. And you can do that in the data view here. At the top here, you can notice we have data type. It's text. So I can click the drop down and select date. All right. So date type change. Yes, you want to continue. Yes, I want to convert that into a date. Let's see if that's going to work. We can't automatically convert that to a date type. So we have a problem with this column here. It's failing to do an automatic conversion to a date type, which means I would have to use a function to create a new column. Okay, so that it takes this text and converts it into a date. I'm actually going to show you how to do that, but for now, I'm not going to show that yet, right? Let's just play around with the data that we have here. Okay. Now, Now, how do you start to summarize your data? I think the first place to start with is to think about what is it that you want to visualize, okay? So probably you already have, say, the indicator. You have your indicator tracking table, or you have your monitoring and evaluation plans. And that the monitoring and evaluation plans will tell you what you would like to summarize and how do you like to show that. What I normally do in most cases, the first thing I do is to just summarize the indicators one by one. So for example, here we have a number of condoms distributed, right? So we have lots of places where we were distributing condoms. So we have number of condoms distributed. Maybe you want to have a total number of condoms distributed. So you can use, I normally use this visualization. So you see here, you have this pane that says visualizations. So there's this one here that says card. So what I do is I normally just use the card because I just want to show a number there, a total number of condoms that have been distributed across all of that. So I can just go ahead and click that button right there. Okay. And once you click it, it actually inserts the visual here. And once you insert the visual on your report, you notice that now you have here, it says fields and it says add data fields here. Now you can just drag and drop it into the fields, or you can simply just put a check mark here, or you could drag it and drop it on the visual itself. Normally, I like to I like to have control over what I'm doing. So I just drag this, okay, from the fields pane here, just drag it and drop it where it says add a field here. Just drop it there. And that's it. It actually says 164K. So we have distributed 164,000 condoms. This actually says number of condoms distributed, right? You can edit what it says here, but just double clicking, right? Here, I can say total condoms distributed. Like that, and press enter. That changes this text here at the bottom. But also, you're gonna have to check what function is being used to summarize this. So for now, where you have fields here, where it says total condom distributed, if you click the drop down, you notice that we have all these functions that are being used to summarize. So right now we are summarizing using sum, but you can summarize using average. So you can say, okay, this is the average condoms distributed, which means I would have to edit this. Instead of total condom distributed, I would have to say average condoms distributed. I'll click the drop down again. You can say maybe you want minimum or maximum, or you want to count and so on. What I want to do right now, I'm just gonna go ahead and select sum, which is now it's showing us total number of condoms distributed. Right, awesome. What else can we do with this? We can actually change a bit of it, maybe just to add a background color and something like that. And the way you do that is I've clicked on this here, then I'm gonna go ahead and click on the format here, okay? Format, this icon here. And then you will see that you have here, it says background. You have multiple things. I'm not going to go into greater detail on the customizations. I'm going to talk about them in the full course that I'm mentioning. So I'm just gonna go to background, and instead of the white color there, I'm actually going to choose a really cool color that I think I should have. I think a gold is fine. That kind of doesn't look, I always like to have very light colors there. Do we have a very light color that I can use? Maybe a blue there. No, I don't like that either. Maybe a gray is fine for me right now. So we have 164,000 condoms, and I can actually drag around. I can resize using these here. I can resize, make it a bit smaller like that. And I think this is perfectly fine. We can go ahead and check out what else that we can do. Let's add another visual, don't you think? Total number of females who have accessed condoms, right? So again, I'm just gonna use a card. So this one, I'm just gonna click card. So we have another card there. I'm just gonna to just align it like that. That's awesome. And again, number of females who have accessed condoms, I'll drag that and drop it in the fields like that. And it says 7,303 number of females who have accessed condoms. That's awesome. So I can also double click this and change how that reads. And again, I can go to format here, go to background and choose the same background that I had there, 7,353 females. You see how this is so easy for you to develop. Just gonna go another card there. I'm just gonna drop it here as well. Number of males who have accessed condoms. I should look for that one. So number of males who have accessed condoms. Again, just drop it right here. 8,553 males accessed condoms. Awesome. And remember, we have to cross-check which formula is being used for that summary. If you click the drop down, that's a sum function. And I'm just going to go ahead and let's see. Again, the background, I'm going to background and change that, make it gray. Awesome. We're still continuing with our card there. I think I always like to have the cards to summarize everything at once. Then I'll have the charts there to just, you know, pretty much maybe show trends and something like that. Okay, so we're continuing. Now I'm going to go ahead and go another card as well. I hope you guys are following me on this one. The next one is that we have number of females who have accessed condoms, number of males who have accessed condoms. And I'm going to go ahead and say number of females. Rather, let's take a look at this. We have males condoms, females condoms. Number of females who have accessed HTC. Again, we'll just do that. We're still using the sum, just adding things up. And I'm gonna just put a background there. And we're gonna go ahead and add another one. Okay, still continuing. Now we're just adding this. Then in the end, we'll probably have to move things around somehow. Okay, HTC. So let's find males who have done HTC, right? Males who have done HTC, that's the one. Drag it and drop it there. And again, go to background. I'm just gonna apply this gray background. So here we have total number of condoms distributed, females and males who have accessed condoms, then females and males who have done HTC. So probably we're remaining with males who have done who have done VMMC, I suppose. So let's just click that and find males who have done VMMC, and we're going to add it there. And again, just go to background and change that to that. So once again, we're just adding things here, but in the end, I'm actually going to show you now how we can. I'm going to show you now how we can move things around and so on. But this is fine. I mean, we have the numbers and we can see how things are going right then. All right, let's continue now and see what other things we can do. So I'm actually interested to, I'm actually interested to find out now, to not do comparisons. So this is simply a single variable analysis. So how about you want to do comparisons? Remember, here we have districts, right? We have different districts, right? And I'm now interested to find out how we can compare these numbers by district. And the best way you can do that is either you use a pie chart or you can use a bar chart or column chart. So under the visualizations, you notice here we have the stacked bar chart, you have a stacked column chart, and then we have a clustered bar chart, you have a clustered column chart. So we can use either of this to show comparisons, or you can use the pie chart. Most people like the pie chart. I don't know. We're gonna try this and then see which one actually works best. Okay, we want to make comparisons across the district. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with the, I'm just gonna use, I think, the clustered column chart. That's what I think, for me, I think that would be best. So I'll click that, and that inserts that visual here, right here. And then the next thing, you take a look at what's needed for you to populate that. So you can see here on the axis, which in most cases, that's the x-axis, that's where you're going to add a categorical variable, or a variable that is now doing the comparisons. In this case, that would be district, right? So we're going to add it on the axis here. The legend, the values now are the values that you're trying to summarize. So for every column chart or bar chart, you have to add at least the axis and the values, right? Or several values, okay? So I'm gonna start with the values right now. And what I want to do is number, I'm gonna do number I'm gonna do number of males who have done VMMC. Okay, let's look at that number of males who have done a VMMC, and I'm gonna add them under the values on top here, right? So we have here the total number of males who have done a VMMC. That's okay, but now I want to compare that across districts. So you're gonna drag the district field and put it under axis like that. So you notice now we have this chart, and I can actually make it a bit bigger, as you can see here. Now we do have some people did not select a district, and you can see here we have a third bar that has nothing. So to avoid something like that, you might want to make your questions compulsory, right? Make sure that you don't have anyone who don't input that information, because you don't want to have anything of that nature there. But another way is you can actually remove that value there as well if you want to, so that you only have okay, you only have a few. And you can see actually here under filters on the right hand side, you have Coco, Lola, and then here you have blank, which is our blank right here. So I can actually say I want to filter that so that I only have Coco and Lola like that. And then for this specific one, so you can actually see that we have these two and we have gotten rid of that. So I'm just gonna remove the filter. So with the filters function, we have removed that blank one, which means every time we're just gonna be having this. So it looks like most of the males who have undergone VMMC, they are on here. Now I'm gonna add another one, okay? I'm gonna add another one, and it's also going to be a class and column chart. I've added it, and you can see it's right here. Great, but this time I want to compare number of males and number of females who have done HTC, right? So now, for example, here, this is condoms. Let's try HTC. So number of males who have done HTC, it's a number, so I would drag it and drop it on the values like that. Okay, great. But then I want number of females who have done HTC. So I have it here. I can also drop it on the values as well. So you can see now I have dropped number of females and number of males on the same. And we actually have two bars right there. Okay. The other one is for females and the other one is for males. And actually, it actually says at the top, you have number of males who have done HTC and number of females who have done HTC, and it's actually doing the comparison right there. Okay, so we actually have more females who have done HTC than males who have done HTC. So instead of having a variable go to the axis, you can have several variables, add them on the values, and actually that does the comparison as well. But let's take a look at the same thing, but using a pie chart. But you'll notice that I am running out of space, which means let's go ahead and take a look at how else we can work with this, I guess. How can we now edit the the screen so we have more space? So if you want to create more space, if you want to create more space here, make sure you click anywhere on the canvas. Just click somewhere away on the canvas like that. And then, apologies for that. I double clicked and that added what is called the Q&A. So just click away, and then here below the visualizations, you have here where it says values. And then you have this guy here. Okay, that's format. If you click that, because you just clicked on the report, you're looking at the report formatting options. So when you go to page size on report formatting options, you can see that we are using a 16:9 size, but we can change this. So for example, I can use a letter size or a close to an A4. You can see here, we have letter size close to an A4, or we can use a 4:3, or I'll just select usually what I do is just select 16 by 9, then go to custom. So I select 16 by 9, which was 1280 by 720. Then I went to custom. So I can change the height. Let's say I want it to be square, so I can add another 1280 here, like that. So that actually gives me some space. And then you can go to view, on the view, and then here where it says page view, you want it to fit to width so that you have more space, so you can be scrolling down. So actually this looks much better. So what we did is click outside away, then here under the visualizations, click on this format. It was 16 by 9, so we just changed to custom, and where the 720 and just add another size like 1280 like that, and then change where there's page view here on the under view on the menu under view, go to page view and select fit to width. That makes it to be scrollable like that. So let's try to use a pie chart. So you can go ahead and just click the pie chart. So the way to add this is easy. Click the pie chart like that. And under the values, I'm going to select now. This time I want to do condoms. So I'm just going to be condoms distributed. I'll drag it, drop it in the values like so. Rather, not this one, rather, apologies for that. So I'm just going to go ahead, number of females who have accessed condoms. I'll drop it there. Then I'm going to get number of males who have accessed condoms. I'm going to drop it right there. And you can see now, this one actually looks, I think, much better. If you ask me, much better than this one, I guess. So we can turn this into a pie chart. So it looks much better. So you can actually change how the chart looks like, but just clicking on it, and then just click on the chart you want. So it actually just converts that to the chart that you've selected. So easy. So you can see here, you have number of males who have done HTC and so on. This is real cool. So you can see everything is coming together. Everything is coming together nicely. Right. You have all the numbers here, and now we're doing our comparisons down here. You have even more different charts here that you can use, but I'm not going to go through all of this. Some of these I'm going to tackle in depth in the full course. I think now will be a great idea for me to just throw in the link to the full course. So remember the full course, okay, the full course is, I'm actually going to, is going to start next weekend. The full course is going to start next weekend. And I just want to, in just a moment, I'll show you the course outline of the full course. But for now, I just want to show you the filtering mechanism and so on and so forth. Somebody's asking about saving. I think that's a very important thing. Let's save. I think let's save. So you can click File and Save. I think it's a good idea for us to save this. Otherwise, we might just find ourselves that we have lost information. So I'm going to save this as, what are we calling this? We're calling it project tracking. Okay, project tracking. I'm just going to call it project tracking. All right, so file save, that's it. It's the same way that you save any file. That's how you save that file. This is really cool, but certain times you might need to combine certain values. So for example, here, what if we're interested to find out the total number of people who accessed condoms? So we have number of females, we have number of males. So we want to just find the total number of people who accessed condoms. So to do that, you're gonna do what you do in Microsoft Excel. You have to create a new column, right? So we have to combine number of females who have accessed condoms and number of males who have accessed condoms. We want to combine that into a single column. So to do that, you can just right-click anywhere here, right? Just on the field pane, and then you can say new column like that. Okay, so it's going to open up something at the top. You can see now here at the top we have this bar, and the way we do calculations here, it's very straightforward. It's almost the same way you do Excel. So I'll call this total who accessed condoms. All right, condoms, That's the column that I'm creating. So this column is going to be, we are adding number of females to number of males who accessed condoms. So I'm just going to say number. Okay, so we want to add this column. We're adding a number of females. Okay, so this is going to be table 1. So first thing is table 1. So the moment I start typing table 1, you can see that it's listing down all the fields that we have in table 1. So I want a number of females who have accessed condoms. I'll just click the drop down, rather use the down arrow key and use the tab key to select it. So table 1, number of females who have accessed condoms, plus, again, table 1, number of males who have accessed condoms. I'm going to select that. So total who accessed condoms is going to be number of table 1, number of females who have accessed condoms, plus table 1, number of males who have accessed condoms. And I'm going to press enter that. So we actually have a new column which says total who accessed condoms. And I'm actually going to show you that if I go to the table view and I scroll to the right, we actually have this new column right here, which is total number of people who accessed condoms. I'm going to go back to the report, and I can use that table. Actually, I can use that. I can add, let's say, a pie chart. Okay, I'll just use a pie chart, and I'll drag this total who accessed condoms to the values like that. Then I'll probably just grab the district and put it on the legend like that, and you can see that here we have. Now, this is total number of people who accessed condoms, but broken down by district. And I can use the filters again, just to, for this chart, just to remove the blank where I have district, just select Coco and Laura like that, and just go back. So I'm just gonna make sure that has been accepted. Just close that and close that. So we have this chart here, which is showing the total number who have accessed condoms by districts. So that was that is what we're calling a calculated column. The other thing that you can do in terms of calculations is you can actually now calculate, you can actually calculate what is known as a measure. So a measure is a single number that you can calculate, right? So for example, you want to get the actual total as a single number, the actual total itself of people who accessed condoms. So you remember you have a column here at the end, right? This column, that's total number who have accessed condoms. So you want to add this whole column together. So when you're adding everything in the column, what you're creating is known as a measure, right? So measures can go quite advanced. You can do, you can actually use if conditions for the measures, but I'm not going to tackle that because of time. Actually, we're almost nearing the end of our webinar here, so the end of the 2 hours. So we're only going to capture that in the course that is starting next weekend. But let me show you quickly how you can create a measure that we want to use somewhere. So the measure that I want to create now, I just want to count, okay? I want to count how many times we have done these activities, right? So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and right click anywhere on the fields here on the right hand side, and I'll select new measure like that. Okay, now this measure, I'm going to call it number of clinics. Okay, I'm going to call it number of clinics. Now remember, when we go to a clinic, so we've gone to a place and we want to, we've set up a mobile clinic there, we are entering one form. So that is counting as one single thing, right? So we could use, we have this ID field here, which is uniquely identifying each of the events that we have. So we can count that unique ID to give us how many times we have done the clinics. So I'm actually just going to say number of clinics is equal to, and I'm going to use a function called count like that. Okay, those of you who use Excel, you might know this function. So count, and then I have to mention the name of the field that I'm counting. So I'm going to count the ID to give me the number of times we have done the clinics, and I'll close the bracket like that and press enter. So that gives us the number of times that we have done the clinics, like so. That is awesome. So we have our measure, number of clinics. And again, we can use that in a chart. So I'm gonna use I'm gonna use a pie chart again, just to find out how many we have done in each of the districts. So I'll use a pie chart, just click the pie chart there and just put it somewhere, right? And then I'm just gonna use number of clinics and put it in the values like that. So the total number, we have 117, which is true because we actually have 117 rows here. You can see actually, yeah, 117. So I'm gonna go ahead and drag the district to the legend so it shows how many times we have done. So again, we still have that problem. So I have to go to the filters, and on the district, make sure that I only select the 2 districts and I don't have any blank. That is awesome. And it shows me number of clinics by district. So we have done 83 in Coco and 33 in Lola. So I guess that's really awesome. The next thing I want to show you now is to add, we're gonna add a filter, right? And we're gonna just be filtering by district. So I'm gonna just select this slicer right here. Okay, so we have the slice. In most cases, you want the filter to go at the top. So I'm just gonna go ahead and drag it to the top and resize it. And then I'm just gonna use the district and drop it in the field right there. And you can see we have the districts here. So we have Coco and Lola. So what happens with this is when I select Coco like that, you see that the whole dashboard changes. If I select Lola like that, you see the whole dashboard changes. So now we are filtering the information we have on the dashboard using this. But we can actually do a lot of customizations here. We can customize this. I can go to there. I can go to selection controls and select use single. I mean, just probably make it a drop down. Okay. Right, for us to do a drop down, we need to turn on the title, I guess. And I hope I remember. Okay, we turn on the title and click the drop down here at the top and select that we want a drop down. And you notice that now it becomes a drop down, and we can actually change the background color there and probably just make it, just give it a good color. That is too bright. I think we just use it the same gray there. And then you can click the drop down pretty much and select the district that you want or deselect it. And as you can see, it filters that. So there's much, much more that we can do, guys. There's so much more that we can do with this. We can arrange this nicely to form a dashboard and so on. There's so much that you can do. But now what I want to show you is I want to show you the filtering, I want to show you now how you can refresh this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back. Okay, I'm going to go back to, can you help me, guys? Once again, I'm going to ask for your help again. Right, I'm going to ask for your help again so that if you could go ahead and enter even more information. If you could please go ahead and enter more information here. We just want to test now what happens when you add more information, and then I will show you how we actually go ahead and refresh the information and then see how that affects our dashboard. So is it going to be able to update automatically? So I've sent you the link. Can you please also just add in a few more? Please, can you just go ahead and add a few more records in there if you can do that very quickly? I'm also just going to do that very quickly here. The district is that, and number of males 50. I'm just going to put a bunch of numbers in there. We don't mind about the accuracy of the numbers, don't worry. Just put a bunch of numbers because we want to see now what happens after we have added. So thank you so much. You're adding a lot of information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here and show you now what happens after you have added all that information. So now under the home tab, okay, you can see we have the refresh button here. Now before, I just want you to take a snapshot of this. I'm just gonna make this a little wider so it's easier to see. We have 164,000 total condoms distributed. We had a total of 117 cases, 33 in Lola and 83 in Coco. Now I want to show you now what happens once I refresh. So refresh, just go ahead and click refresh button here and just wait. Just give it a moment and wait and see what happens. Just take a look at the 164K there. Okay, so it looks like it hasn't updated. Let's see. Okay, there's a lot of responses that are coming in. All right, great. Thank you so much. Lots of responses. You know, some of you are really adding very big numbers, but anyway, it's all right since we're just trying to see what's going to happen. So I'm trying to refresh. Let's see if refreshing actually is working. It's supposed to work. Still showing us that we have 117 rows added. So instead of refreshing from here, we can also refresh from the right-hand side here, where you have the table itself. You can click the drop down and select refresh data like that. So you can refresh from the top here, but you can also refresh from the right-hand side where you have the table itself. Now, I usually, you know, sometimes you have slow internet. It's very possible you have very slow internet. And because of that, you might want to use the right-hand side, especially if you have several tables on the right-hand side, then you might want to refresh each table one at a time. And I've also seen that certain times when you refresh all the tables at once, you might get some errors. So right now you only have a single table, but if you have multiple tables, you actually might want to do something like that. So anyway, let me try to see what problem we might be having here that's making it that we shouldn't have it updated automatically. I have tested this with KoBoToolbox. It works all the time when you use KoBoToolbox and connected, but here it does look like it's not working. So I'm going to go back to this sheet and go to publish to the web and just cross-check everything else. Okay, here it says automatically publish when changes are made. Okay, so it means that we should get the updated one. But probably we might need to just wait a little bit of some moment since we have just entered the information to get the updated one. So we're just going to keep on refreshing. We're just going to keep on refreshing. Yeah, now it's updated. So it actually has a little bit of a difference there. So wow, look at that. We definitely have a problem here. I mean, there's a lot of we might want to do some cleaning up. Now, this is actually something that we're going to cover in the other course that I'm talking about. You might actually get errors, and you can actually put alerts. Okay, you can put an alert that if a value is above this, then probably we should have an alert to tell us that something is not right. Okay, pretty much tell us if anything is not right, so that we shouldn't have such kind of problems whereby we have values that are way above. But it means now and again, we can just be hitting the refresh button and then we're gonna be fine. You can share this with friends by literally just taking the file here, this file right here, just grabbing the file and share it with your friends. As a matter of fact, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just gonna close this for now and I'll save it. And I'm gonna share it in the chat right now. Now, I want to show you the course outline of the course that is coming up, right? I did mention when I was just starting, I'm just gonna pause sharing for a moment. So when I was starting out, I actually showed you, I actually mentioned that this course that I'm doing here is very close to my heart. And the reason for that is that I'm actually doing several projects right now for clients. You know, I have two projects right now that I'm doing for clients, and whereby I'm developing forms in KoBoToolbox and then bringing them in Power BI, and then, you know, developing something that's going to act as a digital monitoring and evaluation framework, rather a digital monitoring and evaluation system. And they're actually paying me very good sums of money. So apart from that, some of you, I know that you're probably working at organizations that may make use of this. And so when it comes to, I just want to show you very quickly the course outline of the course that we are starting next weekend. It's a very amazing course, and you're going to love it. I know that you have a lot of questions that you would like to ask, and all those questions are going to be answered within that. So this is the course right here. This is the course outline. We're going to start with Introduction to Data Analytics and Visualization. And we're going to do Getting Started with Microsoft Power BI. So literally what we have covered here, I'm going to go back to it step by step. Then we're going to see how we can connect to different data sources, like Microsoft Access, SQL databases, Google Sheets, KoBoToolbox, ODK, ONA, and so on. And then we're going to talk about cleaning, transforming, and load data. We're going to talk about modifying Power Query, M-code, resolving data importing errors, and so on. There's a lot of stuff that we're going to be covering in there. Modeling the data. We're going to talk about introduction to data modeling, configuring table column properties, dimensions and hierarchies, table relationships. This is the stuff that you guys need to know for you to develop a full-blown M&D, digital M&D system where you have data collected in the field going straight to Power BI, and then, you know, having that as your report. We're going to talk about DAX. I've only shown you a little bit of DAX when I was showing you the count function, but there's more stuff. For example, the calculate function, and so many different functions that you can use in Power BI. We're going to talk about now creating the reports. We're going to go through each and every visual that we have in Power BI. Not only that, I'm actually going to show you custom visuals. For example, I always like to use a certain visual whereby I'm able to show. Actually, let me just go ahead and quickly show you a visual that I actually created, for example, that actually has that functionality. Then we're going to talk about creating dashboards, publishing and sharing dashboards. There's going to be a lot of stuff that we're covering. And this course, I've already showed you in the beginning that this course right now, the stuff that I'm doing for other clients, I have GNET or Girls Empowerment Network, I'm doing for them, and they're actually paying me about $1,500 for that work, which is literally just 2-3 days, or 1 week to be real kind of work. And there's another organization that is paying me quite a good sum of money just to do something like this. Which means if you think about it, how much would you pay for something like that? Yes, Power BI, the BI stands for Business Intelligence. So it's Power Business Intelligence from Microsoft. So, but I don't want to really cost it so much because there's about 5,000 people in our course platform. And right now there is about 140 something of you here on the course. And if you guys would go ahead and buy the course, I don't have to make it expensive. As a matter of fact, when we are going to be launching it, which is next week, I'm just going to be launching it at $125. But now, right now, between now and next weekend, before we start the actual course itself, the course is just going to be at $49. That's really cheap if you consider the amount of value that you're going to be getting from this. So I'm actually sending you a link to where you can actually purchase the course at $49 for now, right now, between now and next weekend. So between now, once we finish this, I'm actually I'm actually going to go ahead and send you this link as well to your emails. But that is a link right there. You just go in on the link, and I'm just going to show you right here how you're going to do that. So you go there on the link. It's $49 for now, as you can see, and you can pay using PayPal or using your credit card. It's very secure. Now, this is going to be a 6-day course, right? But it's going to be self-paced. So what's going to be happening is that next weekend, we'll add videos that you guys have to go through and practice, and then we'll be discussing through the week. And then the next week, we'll do the same thing. On the weekend, we do that as well, and so on. Next weekend, after we have launched the course, it's going to go to $125. But between now and next weekend, you can actually see on the price here. If I just show you the back end, this is the price that we are doing right now. That's an elevate pricing. But after this, it's going to go back to $125. And that's still cheap. But for now, for those of you who are here, you can go ahead and buy this using the link that I'm sending you. I'm also going to send the link using email or through your emails. You can buy that at $49. And next weekend, Saturday, we are starting. And this is the course outline. There's a lot of stuff that I'm going to be covering, and it's going to be an awesome course. If you are a consultant, then trust me, you're really going to make a lot of money with this material. If you are working at an organization, you're actually going to bring a lot of value to the organization. And trust me, this is the next big thing that is going to be there in social development programs, because every organization that I'm going to and introducing them this solution to digital M&D, they are taking it. And there's lots of organizations that are coming to me to say, can you build something like this for us? So I'm sure that it's going to add a lot of value to you as well. At the end of the course, you are going to get a certificate as well. This is not going to be a live course. It's going to be a self-paced course. But what we are doing is we are going to be sending the material little by little, so you have time to capture that information. So next weekend, we are going to send you information all the way from introduction to getting started with Power BI. And then we're going to have a little activity, and the class is going to be meeting to, it's very practical. It's almost practically free if you think about $49. It's not a lot of money if you consider the amount of value that we're throwing in here. So right now, I very much recommend you take a look at the course. At $49, the link is right there. Just buy the course at $49. If you don't have a credit card or a debit card or PayPal, I always recommend just ask a friend within your country. Just say, is anyone who has a credit card who can, help me pay for this course? And then you pay for the course and you can pay them locally. It always works. And even in Malawi, we do that as well a lot. I have a lot of people who use my card when they want to buy things because they don't have cards. But I'm sure that you can put something like that. This is a very valuable course that I'm very sure that you are really going to like, and it's going to add a lot to you. And we are not throwing everything at once. And the reason for that is we want to build this step by step. We want to make sure that everyone who is taking the course actually grasps everything and all the questions have been answered. That's why it's going to be self-paced, but we're going to be drip feeding the information. So next weekend, you have the information, and then we'll practice. We'll have a class group. I think we're gonna just do WhatsApp where we're gonna be discussing, okay, how are you looking at this and that, and we're gonna be developing our dashboards. And the next weekend we'll do the same thing until we have this hands-on and we understand everything. And if you have taken some courses in our course platform in data for development, you probably already know how we deliver these courses. We do our best to make sure that even someone who's just starting out actually does get and understand. So you'll be done within 6 days. So it's going to be 6 days, but it's going to be weekends starting next weekend, which is, let me just check the dates right here. So it's going to be 3, 4, 10, 11, 17, and 18. So it's just 3 weekends. But once you do the material for that weekend, you wait so over the other weekend. It's not going to be live, it's self-paced, which means once we send the videos, you can do them at any time, but you'll be able to follow within the group that will be setting up for this, so that if you can do assignments together with your friends and you actually get this. So now, how many hours a day? It's going to depend on the topics that we are covering, but the total of the whole course should be something maybe 4 hours or 5 hours. That's the total course. That's just the videos themselves. But when it comes to, so if you divide that, you probably have 1 hour of lessons every day. So you have 1 hour of lessons every day, but that's just the videos. But you're going to be having to do some, practicing, doing the practicals and something like that. So I urge you to go ahead and click the link and pay between today and Friday, this coming Friday, because once we start throwing in the videos, we're going to bump it up to $125. And it's still, even at $105, it's not much, but we just want to ensure that all the amount of work that we're throwing in, because it's a lot of work that we have to throw in, recording the courses and paying a lot of services. We want to make sure that it's going to be obviously profitable for us. So, but for you guys who have enjoyed and joined this course and you have understood how we are going to be doing this, it's going to be $49 between today and Friday that is coming.